Welcome to our show. My name is Misha, and I have with me my colleague and co-host George Michaelopoulos, and this is Hegemonix. Sometimes the stories come right up to us,
Yeah, yeah,
right up to the front door,
yeah,
and start barking. And this is one of those.
yeah.
It's come up to us. Uh, there's a representative named Joe Wilson from North Carolina, I think,
South.
South Carolina.
Yeah,
Okay. Who made a big stink by he authored a letter or a release or whatever it is that criticized the meeting of several Orthodox hierarchs with Representative Anna Bluna, I think.
yeah,
Uh,
and Anna Maria Luna, who
yeah.
is on record as saying that there were at least two shooters at the JFK assassination now.
So she's an open mind. she's
Yeah,
a,
well,
yeah, yeah,
she's in
yeah,
charge of the subcommittee on assassinations. Div different things. So I mean, we
yeah.
whatever. Anyway,
But she hosted several hierarchs. Our Metropolitan Nicholas, the head of the Roll Corps, was one of them. And there were representatives of the OCA, which is your
yeah,
jurisdiction, George,
uh-huh.
and the Antiochians. Later on, I saw something that there was somebody from the Greeks there, but I didn't see any hierarchs or
I didn't
clergy
either.
from the Greeks.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I don't know. But there may be somebody from the Greek church there as well. Um, and that they were there not to say, cut off Ukraine or any of that stuff. They were there to say that they wanted to get in the ears of the politicians about this persecution of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church by the Kiev regime and by this other ecclesiastical creation, the Orthodox Church of Ukraine, which can be
right,
confusing. You have the letter soup problem there,
right,
but the UOC is the one that's actually the canonical, the real
right.
Ukrainian Orthodox Church there, and they've been persecuted, run out of their temples, clergy being persecuted, physically attacked,
Yes,
uh, inducted into the military, cut off from medical assistance. Some of the older clergy who've been detained, and so it's a mess there. And they've been fed all this propaganda, anti-Russian propaganda,
yeah,
and they have decided to. The Kiev government has decided to tag the Ukrainian Orthodox Church as Russian agents, with the help now of Representative Joe Wilson
yeah,
of South Carolina. And so this is an issue for several reasons. One, he didn't just call out the Russian Orthodox Church outside Russia, ROKOR, the Russian Church Abroad, which is my church.
hmm,
He called out the whole delegation. Basically, I don't know if he intended to include the Greeks in it, probably not, but that all these Orthodox people were potentially agents of the Moscow Patriarchate and Putin,
yeah,
Vladimir Putin, Russia. And this didn't go over well with anybody involved. The Serbs were there too, by the way.
yes,
The
they were.
Serbian hierarchy was there. And the Serbs immediately released something that said, first of all, they didn't tell the truth about us because our bishop, Irene, I think, did not meet with Vladimir Putin. It was the Patriarch Porphyria, I think, that
Mhm.
met with him at some point. That they didn't get their facts right to begin with.
Mhm.
But everybody's trying to find their footing on this.
Yeah,
And it's there's an inclination to try to withdraw a little bit and say, well, we don't have anything to do with Russia, and blah, 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 blah. It's a false accusation because we're not, and then they don't. I haven't heard anybody give a full out, which would be my inclination, but I'm suicidally honest in some ways. um, just to say, look, I support Russia. I think it's a great thing. I don't think the war is a great thing in and of itself, but
No.
I think Russia had to do it because of the
Mhm.
circumstances.
Sure.
And I think it's awful that the Ukrainian government is persecuting the valid, legitimate Orthodox Church there
Sure.
in its Russophobia. And the thing that's come into our jurisdiction, I guess, is there's a little bit of a divide as to how exactly to talk about the relationship with Russia, because we're a self-governing, was it semi-autonomous province of the Church of Russia,
Mhm.
which our Metropolitan Nicholas put out a statement which says basically that means the highest authority in our church is our synod, and we're independent, for all practical
Mhm.
purposes of Russia. That's a fair statement, but it's kind of comical to me to try to deny that um, I mean, we are a part of the Church of Russia. That was
Yeah.
the entire point of
Yeah.
the act of canonical, unity. So, but I'm curious to get George. I've done most of the talking up now, and
Mhm.
we're a few minutes in, about your take on all this, how it affects you, because we had the archons chimed in on this as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, don't get me started. Uh, okay. Here's the deal.
I'm here to bait you,
As
George.
eh, as a Greek American, I support Russia in its regrettable war against the Kiev regime, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a part of the satanic globalist network. Okay. Not the Ukrainian people. I'm talking about the
Right.
Kiev regime. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll support the Kremlin in this regard until I'm turned blue in the face. Okay, leaving that aside, as a member of the OCA, which is autocephalous, completely autocephalous,
Mhm.
admittedly at one time a diocese of the Russian Orthodox Church, the
Mhm.
so-called metropolia, which before that, we were like the Russian American Greek Catholic Archdiocese of North America, if memory serves, and we
Mhm.
were like the 66th diocese of Russia. I mean, you had Moscow, you had Petersburg, you had, Voronezh, all these dioceses. We were one of them. Uh, Leaving that aside, we are autocephalous. I'm sure I don't pretend to speak for everybody in the OCA about this, but I can make a pretty good guess regarding Representative Joe Wilson, who I have no problems with him otherwise. I don't know that much about him. If he's a neocon, then I got problems. But but regardless, I he got tremendous pushback,
Mhm.
tremendous, and not just from the article you reference, but in his Twitter feed. I mean, it was like 98% against him. And then the
Mhm.
next day, I think he put out a silly meme of Patriarch Kirill and President Putin, and said Patriarch Kirill, blesser of bombs, and then underneath was uh, Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew and Trump, kind of face to face, and
Mhm.
they called him blesser of peace or something like that, something silly, which
Mhm.
3 years ago, when Turkey invaded Syria, Bartholomew actually blessed the tanks, of a Islamic state.
I
I
didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, when it comes to geopolitics and even basic theology, the uh, the Fanar can't help but, forgive me, step on their dick. I mean, they just, you know, you know, maybe I should have said get over their skis, or slip on a banana, whatever. They're just
Right.
not that competent.
Yeah.
Uh, enough of that. Um, the the archons, of course, put out and I'm going to need to bring this up, uh, a response against the response,
Mm.
and talking about how wonderful the Fanar is, how terrible. Let's see if I can find it here. Archons question White House meeting with Russian Orthodox clergy who are lobbyists for Putin. Okay, and
Mm.
it just goes on and on, and they're so now they've received pushback in that Archbishop Epipharos has ordered, and their statement against Putin and these American Orthodox hierarchs meeting with Wilson, or meeting with Anna Maria Luna and taking on
Mm.
Wilson. Um, they put something on the GOA's website talking about, look, we're
Mm.
the good Orthodox. That's basically what this says, as opposed to those wascally Russians over there. Well, Elpidophoros, to his credit, and I'm not a fan, ordered that it be taken down from
Ah.
the GOA's website, and it was fairly quickly. So I'll give him props for that. He ordered the archons to take it down from their website, and they said, nothing doing. We're going to leave it there. And as near as I know, it's still up there.
Mm.
So what does this mean? Well, it means that the archons are a law unto themselves. And of course, according to their charter, they report directly to to Bartholomew. So they're
Mm.
not really under the GOA. And the Union of Orthodox Journalists sent a press release, or not a press release. Um, excuse me. Um, they sent a press release. Uh, it was an essay, and that there is a brewing incipient civil war within the Greek Archdiocese of America, between Elpidophoros and the clergy in the hierarchy versus the archons, who are the donor class.
Mm.
So, I mean, that's interesting. Whether this will play out or how this will play out, I cannot say. But um, it just goes to show that they're the gang that can't shoot straight. They didn't clear
Yeah.
with Elpidophoros to put it out. And excuse me, one more thing. And Elpidophoros may not have said anything against them, except for the fact that pretty much the entire Episcopal Assembly, the non-GOA ones, the Serbs, the Bulgarians, the OCA, Antioch, Rokor, which
Mm.
Rokor's not in, but said, if you do not condemn this, we are walking. And
Yeah.
so his back was against the wall. So I have to put that in there. Maybe I'm giving Archbishop Ildefonsus too much credit. I don't know. Regardless, he did the right
Well.
thing, and
Yeah.
in the end, the damage is done. It's still on the Archon's website. Um, the other bishops now see that Elpidophoros has no real power, and that as far as the GOA is concerned, they're still living in their delusion that they are the biggest pygmy in the room. So
Yeah.
enough of that.
Where are the archons based?
I don't know. I
Where's
have
their
no idea. Probably New York City. Probably in
New
some
York? But it's
office
an
on 79th
American.
Street. I mean,
But it's an
it's
American thing, basically associated with the. Is it? I get confused about it. For some reason, I had in my head that they were like over there, like the synod not the synod itself, but like the Fenariotes, that they were.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I would be surprised if they had an office in Istanbul. Okay, I just think that they're
okay.
just this East Coast institution of very wealthy or well-to-do Greek American businessmen who love the church each in their own way. And
Yeah.
I've known too, and I thought they were just very fine men. One has now gone to glory,
Mhm.
but overall, they're just kind of a self-important. Gosh, I don't want to say this.
Well,
I
you don't
better
have
not
to.
say it.
Yeah.
Sir cir- circle jerk thing in which they just give each other medals and pretend that the Byzantine Empire is still alive and that they're actually knights, like they're Knights of Columbus wannabes. Okay, and they think when the proper Greek king takes over Istanbul from the Turks that they're going to be riding in the forefront of the vanguard. It's a delusion.
That's well, that's nice. I mean, everybody's as long as it doesn't, you know, persecute and drive people out of the churches. I don't have any problem with such
Well,
delusions, really.
I'll say
But that's
this.
the effect of it.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll say this. I mean, I go to church every Sunday, thank God, you know, and there's newer people coming in every Sunday. And
Mhm.
about one out of every four, will say, well, what's the deal with this guy in Istanbul? And I have to just calm him down and say, ignore him. He's a nobody. And,
Yeah.
Bartholomew has done incalculable damage to the church as a whole, at least the atmosphere, the optics of the church. He's not done any damage to the church in general, except in Ukraine. In Ukraine, he lit that fire.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so I'm not going to give him a pass on that. But he's not a pope,
Right.
and he has no plenary power, and he's barely got any plenary power over his own patriarchate.
Yeah, that's the most confusing thing for people who are not part of the circle there that I mean, he's Patriarch of Constantinople. There are maybe 2, 3,000 Greeks that still live in
Not even.
Constantinople.
Not
Not
even.
even there.
Mm-mm.
And there are some bishops over there of sees that don't actually have any Christians in them.
That's right. Yeah.
Um, and then you have whatever the population is. I'm not going to go into the numbers because we don't really have any good numbers as far as how many Orthodox Christians there are by
Actually,
jurisdiction or that I
yeah,
know of. That
right. If
what
if you
would you
put a
say
gun
of
to my,
yeah.
I'm sorry. If you put a gun to my head, I would say that within the Patriarchate of Constantinople, there's a maximum 2 million. Now, let me tell you how that is. Maybe 1,000 in
Mm.
Istanbul, 125,000 in North America, uh, 80,000 or 100,000 in Australia. I don't know. I don't know the numbers. And maybe another 100,000 sprinkled everywhere in Western Europe, uh, which answers to a Greek bishop like Scandinavia or Iberia,
Mm.
uh, Great Britain. Uh, now, so we're looking at maybe 500,000 there. So where am I coming up with this other 1.5 million? There are 20 dioceses in at least 20 dioceses in northern Greece and in Crete and the Dodecanese Islands, which still are not part of the Church of Greece. They do belong
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
the Patriarchate of Constantinople. So, and I'm guessing here, and I could be wrong, there's maybe 1 million people there, scattered all
Mm.
over those dioceses, maybe 1.5 million. So that's where I'm coming up with these numbers. But again, as you know, so there you go.
Yeah. So there's a conflict. The thing that concerns me most about what Constantinople is doing, what the archons have done, I don't know what to think of this guy, Joe Wilson, representative. I think he's just kind of an airhead. I don't want to say anything bad about evangelicals if he's an evangelical,
Mm.
um, but he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't think. I
No,
think
no,
he's a
no,
useful
no.
idiot type person.
Mhm.
Um, but the rest of it, the thing that bothers me somewhat is um, I can see that there's a war going on between Christianity and liberalism, Western
Yes.
liberalism. And I can see clearly from the statement of the archons that they are on the liberal side of
Yes.
the war between Christianity and liberalism. And that more or less goes for the Fanar as well.
Yes.
And that's somewhat disturbing. You would think that they would try to um, well, no, I guess you wouldn't because I know the history of the fine art of the Constantinople, and it's um, from Athenagoras and
Mhm.
moving forward. Well, even before that,
Yeah.
um, there were ties with American intelligence and British
Mhm.
intelligence, and
British, especially
and so
Meletius the Fourth
yeah,
Metaxakis, a Freemason,
yeah,
and
yeah,
a British
yeah.
asset. There's no
Well,
doubt in my mind. British asset. Yeah.
well, he couldn't have gotten that lucky unless he was,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
he was in charge of four different churches or something like that, or he's getting
Yeah,
ready to
yeah, he
do the
was.
fourth.
Yeah. After
Yeah,
the Greeks exiled
that
him,
was
he
in the
came to
20s.
America and he set up the Greek
Yeah,
archdiocese here. So,
and then when he ended up in Constantinople, he had it moved under
yeah.
Constantinople, which is that's an interesting kind of thing. Well, it does make me feel better that there are Greeks, not only like you, George, but also in Greece,
Mhm.
um, and probably in the United States as well, who are not really interested in all this crazy nonsense and
Mhm.
um, pissing against the wind, basically.
It is.
Uh, yeah, but I think they're digging themselves a deep hole. Russians have long memories,
Yes, they do.
and the Russians remember what happened to. I mean, every time they interview Putin, he starts off in the 16th century, at least.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the best hope is that he only goes back to the 16th century.
Right, exactly.
Um,
Otherwise, he goes
yeah,
back to Rurik.
to Rurik, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and but they remember all the stuff about the around the Bolshevik times and
Oh, yeah.
the Living Church and all that, the skullduggery between the patriarch as well. There wasn't a patriarchate uh, in Russia until
1918.
really after the
Actually,
revolution. Yeah, yeah,
1917.
they
Yeah,
finally voted to
I mean, there
reinstate it.
was
Yeah,
one before that, and Peter the Great kind of quashed it.
right. Yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah,
then it
yeah,
came back in 1917, even under the provisional government of Kerensky. And but
yeah.
anyway,
They could hear from what I remember reading. They could hear artillery in the
hmm,
distance when they were voting on restoring the patriarchate.
yeah.
Um, but so they remember all this stuff and they remember what's happened, in recent
Oh
years.
yeah.
Uh, and he's put everything in one basket, all his eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Which maybe he has to do because of the fact that he's owned by American intelligence, British intelligence, whatever it is. Um, I doubt that because he's
Hello.
in a very vulnerable position. I don't want to like take up his defense or anything, but if I were a defense
Yeah.
attorney for Patriarch Bartholomew, what I would say is the man's effectively under arrest in his own country,
Yes.
which is run by
Mhm.
Turks, and there is no more vulnerable position that he could be in than the one he is in, right now. So if the people at Langley or wherever, Foggy Bottom, decided that he had outlived his usefulness, he could go in
Oh,
any number of ways. It would never be traced back to the United States.
right,
And
right,
so he
right,
has a
exactly.
real, yeah,
Yeah,
he has
yeah.
a real
Like,
motivation, just like Zelensky
uh-huh.
does in a
Yeah.
way.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
He's
yeah. No, no,
everything.
I mean, it's easy to feel sorry for him up to a point. I mean, he is a captive of the Turks. There's no doubt about that. Uh, Even
Yeah.
more so now, he's a captive of the United States, of the American empire, as our friend Jim Jeffers likes to call it, gay, the global American empire. And, and, you know, uh, I don't know if you follow Helleniscope, but I would recommend
Sometimes.
our listeners do so. Um,
Hmm.
Recently came out that Kimberly Guilfoyle, who is the new American ambassador to Greece, has been making all kinds of waves in Greece because of her glamour and all that. And she's going to all the right parties and meeting with all the right billionaires and stuff like
Right.
that. And there, it's she's insinuated herself into the election of a new bishop in Crete. I'm not sure if it's the chief bishop or not, but the
Yeah.
this is a little complicated. But there's something called the Cretan mafia, believe it or not, and there is a mafia, and the godfather of that mafia said, "Oh well, the man we want to be the next bishop is going to be whoever the Americans want, basically." And somehow
Hmm.
Kimberly's gotten herself involved in that. And of course, the prime minister of Greece is a Cretan himself, comes from an established Cretan dynasty called the Mitsotakis dynasty. They go pretty far back.
Uh-huh.
And in interesting history there, which I don't want to go into, but basically, I mean, gay, the global American empire, is calling the shots pretty much everywhere in the world except for China, except for Russia, and even Israel has been brought to heel a little bit, or 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 quite a bit by uh,
Yeah.
by the State Department. So Bartholomew's in this mix. Uh, he is a captive. That's all I'm trying to say. He was probably forced to create this fake church in the Ukraine.
Hmm.
He could have refused, and he would have been replaced.
Yeah.
But that still would have been the right thing to do, you know,
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, yeah,
because now
yeah,
he has
yeah.
blood on his hands. So I've kind of gone a circuitous way here to talk about how confusing this entire situation is, and that's all. I mean,
Yeah. The sides are materializing. We still don't know what India's going to do necessarily. What I'm curious about is I know that, and I've said this, one of the reasons why I'm not that concerned about this representative kind of turning on the Orthodox
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
is that in the we're just coming out of a period under Biden when they were going after when the DOJ was investigating Catholics,
Yes, absolutely.
and I don't think anybody has the stomach to really to go in and try to put everything through a fine tooth comb. Now I don't know what they'd find. I don't. The Russian Church abroad is not particularly wealthy. That's
Yeah.
an understatement.
Hmm.
And I don't think that there's any intrigue, accounting intrigue
Hmm.
necessarily,
Hmm.
that they would necessarily find there. I don't know about the other jurisdictions. It's possible there have been intrigue in the past
Hmm.
there. Not that Rocor is immune to crap happening. It's
Right.
not. Um, but I just don't see how there's I think it's just a one of these trying to bang the drum and trying to rattle the sabers without actually getting your fingers, dirt under your fingers,
Right.
going after somebody. That's the kind of, it strikes
Yeah.
me as being that kind of thing. And especially with the pushback that they've gotten,
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's
Oh.
probably, it's not going to go too much further.
You know, they say follow the money, and I'm not going to. There's always something behind. The what the the point is never the point, or the issue is never
Yeah.
the issue. Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. It's always about power, and so like when you had feminism, it's not about getting women in the workforce. It's just about destroying the family. And augmenting the power of the central government or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
CDP.
you know,
Yeah. Mm.
civil rights for blacks. Okay, so we have Martin Luther King Day parades. How's that helped you exactly? Again, it's just to fan the flames of interracial animosity. Um,
Yeah.
the with Representative Wilson, I can't prove this, but I've been thinking about it, and there's something else that's going on here that's probably caused him to be this way, or caused his handlers to come out and condemn this Orthodox delegation, and that is the explosive growth of Orthodoxy in America. I think that I know that um, the other no, excuse me, the other Protestant denominations, those who are serious, not the Unitarians, or you know
Hmm.
your typical gay pride flag waving Episcopalians, or
Hmm.
PCUSA, or whatever. They don't give a rat's ass. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
because they don't believe it anyway, and they've got enough of a how shall I say it, opium or other people's money to just kind of
Hmm.
keep on, you know, having their nice little
Yeah.
conferences, good salaries until they pass on. Okay, they don't give a
Big
crap.
endowments.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
However, the those who are more traditional, more conservative, who take who take things seriously, who take their faith seriously, and I give them credit for it because they do. I'm thinking about like Doug Wilson out of Moscow, Idaho. I'm thinking of Pastor Joel Webbin out of Georgetown, Texas, or wherever he's at. Cannon
Hmm.
and Creed. I'm talking about Gavin Ortland. Allie Beth
Hmm.
Sticky. Yeah, I know. She's not a pastor.
Hmm.
Um, these, I would call them hard shell Protestants who still believe
Hmm.
in Protestantism. They're running scared,
Hmm.
and they're doing everything they can to wave a red flag and tell their young men, "Don't go there, don't go there. They're Putin agents, or they're anti-Semites, or which they're Easterners. I mean, and you're going to have to be doing yoga and levitating or something like this. We're, we're the Americans, okay? You don't want to go to those
Yeah.
Greeks or those Bulgarians, I mean, and even the Catholics who know better, the traditional Catholics, the Trent Horns, the Brian Holdsworths, who I listen to, Kennedy Hall, good guys, as
Hmm.
well as the Protestants I mentioned, they say, well, why would you go over to the Orthodox? I mean, they don't have we have one pope, but they got 10, you know, and you can't. You know, they haven't agreed on baptism or contraception or divorce and remarriage and stuff like that, not realizing that every bishop we have is his own pope, and he deals with these things on a case by case basis, economia or whatever, or
Hmm.
where you have more than one Orthodox bishop per city. In New York, you got 3 or 4. Chicago, you got 7. San Francisco 2. Philadelphia 3. I don't know. And so they try to present a bad case scenario, the worst case scenario of what Orthodoxy is in America, which from a distance looks like, well, these people, they're confusing. Excuse me, I don't mean to go this long, but I mean I've just had it is pent up in me. The
That's fine. That's fine.
the uh, Ben Cleve, who had Cleve to Antiquity, a very good podcast, traditional, conservative,
Mhm.
has recently announced he's joining the Orthodox Church as a catechumen, and that has just set
Mhm.
shockwaves throughout the uh, the Protestant internet sphere. Especially the apologetics, because he's a pretty darn good apologist. And he said this
Yeah.
recently on a podcast called Meet the Blessed about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Good podcast. I want all our people to check it. Instead of Meet the Press, Meet the Blessed. And
Mhm.
he said, the serious Protestants have set up, for want of a better word, you know, intervention programs to stop people from migrating to Orthodoxy
Oh. Hmm.
and Catholicism, but because Catholicism is growing too, you know. I
Mhm.
don't know how, but it is, especially after Frankie.
Well, it's
But
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'll just leave it there. I've said my piece, so I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, the thing with they're flocking to the more traditional aspects of Catholicism, just like they're flocking to the more traditional
Yeah,
aspects of Orthodox.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I think that's pretty clear that you don't see them beat down the doors of the Episcopal Church,
No,
which
hell no, hell
has
no. I mean, my
the
God,
three orders and everything else. That
yeah,
it's not they're not. Um, so I mean, that's the irony of the thing that we seem to be uh, in this effort to go after Russia. We're shooting ourselves in the foot as far as the Patriarch Bartholomew put out something about. Oh, let me get the name of it straight. Tradition is not conservative but creative.
yeah. Okay, what does that mean?
Uh,
It's just
I
these
think it means
bromides.
that he can do what he wants to do. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
he
yeah, yeah,
that he gives
yeah.
himself
No,
all the room he needs
yeah,
to
yeah.
uh, to fulfill the desires of his patrons.
Well,
In
if I may say this, and again, I'm not saying this out of malice. I'm just saying it from a historical perspective. Um, Bill Gates 2 weeks ago came out and said that climate change is not anything. It's hooey. I don't know if you caught that or not.
I saw something about that, and I don't know how that kind of pans out because he's been going on about cow farts for years. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, what I think, and I don't spend any time on it, is that he's probably been to Epstein Island one too many times, and they got the goods on him, and he decided to just turn tail and do a 180 and say, "Yeah, it's all hooey." The point is, we've known that for pretty much a long time. Uh, Clearly,
Yeah.
Patriarch Bartholomew has not gotten the memo, because when he was elected, I think back in '94, it was either '92 or '94. All of a sudden,
Mhm.
there are these things on C-SPAN and at interfaith dialogues that, oh, this is the green patriarch, not the Greek
Right.
patriarch, but
Yeah.
the green patriarch. And he made several trips to America, so-called apostolic journeys. And when Obama was president, I remember even when Clinton was
Oh yeah.
president, and he was feted by uh, Speaker Pelosi and the Center for American Progress, and he went hither and yon, and people were just, he was like the second coming of the Dalai Lama, and he was. it and his and now that he's near the end of his archpastorate, what does he have to show for it? It was it all a joke? Because he hitched his wagon to the star of global warming, which kind of then became climate change. Okay, and now we know that climate
Yeah.
change was a farce from the very start. So anyway, I'm just saying that as a historical thing. I'm not trying to beat up on the man. I'm just saying this is you know, it is what it is. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a sad chapter. I hope the synod, whenever he goes to meet the Lord, that they have the prescience to do something, to go in a different direction with the
Yeah.
next patriarch of Constantinople.
Hopefully.
And maybe things will be far enough along by that time that it'll be clear what the writing is on the wall to everybody.
Right.
I mean, we've been saying pretty much the same thing since for years about how this east-west thing is going to go,
Mhm.
because we both can look at maps and we can look at where the armaments are
Mhm.
and the history of both parties, or all the parties, and you can see that there's this wave of political nationalism, traditionalism, something coming from
Mhm.
the east, moving west,
Mhm.
and it's not really taking any prisoners. It's just going to be it's I think it's going to be so overwhelming that all these efforts against like Marine Le Pen and AFD
Mhm.
and Reform and that other guy who broke with Reform to go further right, in time, see, they're building up this huge wall. They've got a dam,
Mhm.
and they can see that the people have turned against them,
Yeah.
and they have structures in their legal systems, in their constitutional systems, or whatever you want to call it, um, to hold that off for a certain
Mhm.
period of time. But when it breaks, uh, it's probably going to break pretty hard. And we've been
Yeah.
talking about that recently, about what, it's going to be France first, it's going to be England first, and you have all this
Mhm.
stuff in Mexico. Um, but I don't see that. I mean, I think everybody's just dancing around trying to prevent the obvious from happening, and
Mhm.
the obvious is going to happen because Deus vult.
Yeah, Deus Vult.
God wills it.
Exactly. God
He's
wills it.
he's he's
Yeah.
he's he's done with the BS.
Mhm.
He's had enough of all the liberal shenanigans that have manifested in this end stage of liberalism,
Mhm.
and his people have, and he's, by whatever mechanism, the Holy Spirit or whatever, he's. I think he's leading this thing, and I don't think anything will stand it. Now they will try, and they will do everything they can to throw wrenches in it. A lot of these people, like in the United States, they don't really care. I mean, they've got parachutes where they can go wherever they, want to. They're not
Mhm.
citizens of any particular place. They're just citizens of their bank account, really.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and so you've got that whole class, and that I assume is part of what is motivating the archons, that they're fighting this rear guard. I see it as all part of the one great war,
Yeah,
really.
it is.
Uh,
You're right.
that
Absolutely right about that, Misha.
yeah, I guess that's the easiest way of saying it. I see it as
Yeah.
all part of one great
Yeah.
war,
Yeah.
and it's. I wish I could get the synod. Well, I couldn't, because I couldn't talk to them. They speak Greek, but could get the synod of Constantinople on the phone and try
Well, a
to
lot
do
of them
some kind of
speak English.
presentation.
Emmanuel speaks English. Bartholomew speaks English. Perfect English.
Yeah,
I'm 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 just putting that out there.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, to, but it wouldn't make any difference because you've got these people holed up here. It all goes back to the United States deep state. It
Yeah,
really
it does.
does. I
It
mean,
does.
if you um, and they're using all these people, and it's sad. I mean, it's very sad in the case of Ukraine, because there've been a million and a half Ukrainians
Yeah.
on the Ukrainian side killed
Yeah.
during this war, and totally senseless,
It is.
totally
It is.
senseless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and then just throwing fire on the flames. I mean,
And
that's kind of what we're doing. Is we don't
you, you,
want.
you,
Uh,
you know,
it's
you said
appalling to
something.
see something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
You said something about the deep state, the American deep state, and we all know it's there. Okay, it's there. But
Yeah,
thought experiment. Let's say
yeah,
the American deep state or significant parts of it all of a sudden went trad, went orthodox, uh, and not liberal, and they
yeah.
became nationalist instead of globalists or patriotic instead of globalists. Then Istanbul or the Fanar would turn the next day on a dime and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, whatever." I mean, it's not going to happen. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. Yeah,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
because again, they're just not their own men, I mean, you know, when El Pitaforos went to the White House back on March 25th and called um, Donald Trump the new Constantine the Great, he was right.
Mm,
Okay. He didn't mean it. He didn't know what he was saying.
right,
He's just
right.
being a sycophant. Okay.
Yeah.
If Kamala had won, he would have called her the avatar of Vishnu or something like that. Something stupid. I think I've said this before. I don't want to beat that dead horse, but regardless, um, the Trump, if he succeeds, and for the most part, he has succeeded. Okay. He is a new
Mhm.
Constantine the Great, and what will come after him will be more Trumpism. Okay, in my opinion.
Hopefully,
And if
yeah.
I'm wrong, you tell me. And if that's the case, then you'll have the deep state become Trumpist. You know, I mean, the
Mhm.
original deep state was in Turkey. What when Mustafa Kemal,
Yeah,
he created a deep state. And because he says, you know, I'm not going to live forever, but you guys are going to carry on my legacy. And
yeah,
they're still somewhat in power, although Turkey's becoming more Islamic, more overtly
right.
Islamic. So I could see America, if Trumpism succeeds and keeps on succeeding, then the deep state will become patriotic. So I don't know, but that's a story for
Oh,
another day.
I agree totally. It'll take some time, but if
Uh-huh.
you recall what it has been in the past, it was fervently anti-communist at one
Yeah,
time,
it was.
aggressively anti-communist,
Yeah.
and that is no longer the case.
No, it's not.
Um, and uh, it had a reputation for being very conservative in the sense of going after anybody who was trying to do any um, reform of uh, progressive or liberal
All
reform,
right. You saw what they
anything
did
like
to
that.
JFK.
Yeah, and Martin Luther King and
Yeah.
Bobby Kennedy and
Bobby
Medgar
Kennedy.
Evers and all
Yeah.
kinds of people,
Yeah.
and that was there. And somehow, just like the universities
Hmm.
and just like the media, to some extent, although the media probably was early on, they got infiltrated and turned
Yeah, they
to
did.
be something else. And that's what I think the great project of
Hmm.
Trumpism, MAGA, or America First is to take that the it and we're talking the deep state is the administrative apparatus. It's kind of centered in the intelligence services and law enforcement, federal law enforcement.
Hmm.
But it goes beyond that, and a lot of their activities are done through NGOs who
Yes.
are kind of like they're Bulgarians. If the Soviets wanted to have somebody off, they would go to the Bulgarians because they were wonderful hitmen. I don't want to say anything
Yeah.
bad about the Bulgarians, but
No, no,
they
no. They
this
were.
is a
It was the
still,
Bulgarians who set up the assassination attempt against Pope John Paul II. You know,
yeah,
it
yeah,
it was the Bulgarians who
uh,
did it.
yeah, and it's the same kind of thing. Um, but I hope it it gets turned around so that what you're saying is actually true, and I think that is
Mhm,
kind of the project of
mhm,
um, that and getting oligarchs in to replace the oligarchs who are running things now.
mhm.
Um, that's the thing that got Putin in charge of Russia, as
Yes.
opposed to international bankers being in charge of
Mhm,
Russia,
mhm.
was when he put the oligarchs on a leash and said, "You make your money, but you stay out of politics,
Yeah.
and it's going to be." The security services, the intelligence services, and stuff. And we're gonna run the thing.
Mhm,
We'll make it safe for business and everything like that.
mhm.
But there has to be one head, to this thing, and
Right,
that's
right.
I think what Trump's trying to accomplish, and Vance, hopefully. I don't know
Hopefully.
anybody else that is on deck that necessarily is in
Well,
that vein, but they'll
yeah,
they'll they'll arise because the
right.
the the movement is just so strong. You see it on X now with
Yeah.
the that man did more for humanity than most everybody else has.
I agree.
Um, except
I
for Jesus
agree.
Christ, and His Holy Mother.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Elon Musk, when he took
yeah.
over X, um, he brought the thought of the world, of the English speaking world, and also other
Mhm.
languages as well, to a free place
Yeah.
where it's like a ticker tape of not of business, but of the thought of the
Mhm,
world.
mhm.
And having that unleashed and uncensored, I think is going to do a lot of good. I think it's going to move it a lot in the direction that you're talking about, really.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It just came today or yesterday on my feed that to talk about how things change, APAC, American Israel Public Affairs Committee, they're feeling the heat. And they've got
Mm,
a whole new charm offensive going on in which you don't see any Stars of David, no Israeli flags. It's all American flags, and it says we're APAC, and so we're doctors, we're lawyers, we're mechanics, we're plumbers, we're Americans, And I'm thinking, okay, so you sons of bitches. I mean, the only reason you're doing this right now is because you are truly feeling the heat. I mean, let's just be honest,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And in fact, the other part of the charm offense, so this has been going on for about a week, as I can see, is Laurel Loomer and Ben Shapiro and a few other Israel firsters are saying, even Netanyahu, I saw him say this, we don't really need American aid anymore. We're okay. And then Netanyahu said, when I came to America back in '98, and we were receiving a lot of money for governmental things. I said, no, or
Hmm.
economic assistance. He goes, no, don't give it to me. Keep up the military aid, but no economic aid, and we'll turn Israel around because Israel's economy was kind of in the crapper. And I'll give Netanyahu
Hmm.
this credit. He has made Israel into kind of the Silicon Valley of the Middle East, and it's a
Hmm.
very prosperous country right now, all in all.
Hmm.
And so, but now they're saying, we need to decouple from the United States. We don't need uh, the 3.8 bill that you send every year, which tells me two things. First, they truly are feeling the heat, and they know that the wind has totally shifted in America, and eventually they are going to be cut off. And two, I think they found another sugar daddy. and
Oh, yeah.
and what I'm hearing is India is the new sugar daddy.
Oh, that's interesting. That makes
Yeah,
perfect sense, though.
it does. It does.
Yeah, because they're anti-Muslim. They share an anti-Islam,
Hmm.
orientation.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I guess, for the last thing, because I'm gonna have to go through this, every minute of it to, um, to produce it to I've said a couple of things, and you might have said a couple of things that I'm not sure we want. We can
You know, you haven't. You've kept your mouth unpotty free, so or
uh,
potty free. So,
yeah,
I said a couple. Leave it. I don't care. I mean, just do whatever you want. You're
but,
the editor, publisher, and
but,
you know,
we had
if you
Marjorie
think what I
Taylor
said
Greene,
is
that was the
good,
last thing.
huh?
Yeah, no, we had
Okay,
Marjorie Taylor
whatever.
Greene,
Oh yeah,
retire or say that
yeah.
she's
Resign.
out, January, and I wanted to, just kinda go out on that note about,
Yeah. Tell me what
it
you
has
think
gotten
about
very
that.
strange lately. Do I?
Tell me
Um
what you think about that.
I like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I like
I do
whenever I
too.
see her, I kind of, the business, woman and everything. She's a little too girl boss for me, but that's okay. I mean, I don't,
Yeah, it's okay.
she's gonna be a representative, she's gonna have to be girl boss to a certain extent.
Yeah.
She was against tariffs and she was not in favor of the just across the board deportations. And I think that's what ended up sinking her along with, Israel,
Uh-huh.
the America First thing. And, when I realized that she was against the tariffs and she was against deporting all these people, I said, "Well, I like you, but" Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Just a second. My son, I'll call him
Alright.
right back.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. Clint Eastwood. Yeah, when I realized that she was,
I didn't know
not
she was
on with the
against,
not on with
mass
the
deportations. That's interesting. I didn't
right.
know that. Uh,
Well, she didn't have any problem with deporting the violent ones, and I don't think she had any, problem with, widespread deportations, but being a business person, she didn't want to have it just across the board deport everybody
hmm,
who's illegal.
hmm,
And that was part of the problem,
hmm.
with her, but I think Israel was a bigger part. There's
I think
this
so too.
dichotomy now in MAGA between the people who are,
Mhm,
uh, pro-Israel and those who are not particularly,
mhm,
enamored with Israel.
mhm.
Um, I think the ones who are not enamored with Israel are probably gonna be the ones at the forefront of the movement, and everybody else is just gonna have to be more quiet about it.
Well, the
I think
the,
that's how it's gonna work out.
I mean, I'm a boomer. We're aging out. That's the most brainwashed generation in American history, and, Uh, the ones that watch Mark Levin on Fox and Sean Hannity, oh my God, they're waving the Israeli flag. But
Mhm,
again, I mean, Mark Levin has totally screwed the pooch. He has become a complete hypocrite, and 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 there's a demonic fury in his because in his book he talks about freedom of speech. Is you have to have freedom of speech. You have to have freedom of speech. And so
mhm,
two weeks ago he go no, we cancel people. We cancel Joe Sabran. We cancel pornography, which that's news to me. And
right,
we cancel the John Burt Society. Um, and I'm thinking, okay, so you're an effing hypocrite, and
yeah,
and then it's clear that you really only give a damn about one country. There's no dual loyalty in Mark Levin or Ben Shapiro or these furious, ferocious Israel firsters and
mhm,
neocons. I mean, if for them it's, I mean, I heard and I believe it. that the reason we got dragged into the 12-day war was because Netanyahu said, if you don't help us, I'm going to nuke Iran. I
Yeah.
believe that. I believe that. I think he would have, because when it comes to the Talmud, a lot of these, I hate to say this because I'm not an anti-Semite and I'm not against Judaism per se, but against the Talmud. I mean, the Talmud just says that you could do whatever you want to non-Jews because
Mm.
they're Untermenschen, basically. They're subhuman. And it wouldn't occur, it wouldn't surprise me one iota if Netanyahu was ready to nuke Iran.
Yeah. I don't know what the Russians would have thought about that, but they got their plate full in Ukraine, so I
Yeah, they
don't
got their
know.
plate full. Yeah.
So, well, this could be a part one. We could come
Yeah,
back to
let's do it
this,
that way. Yeah,
and
part one.
there'll be more stuff that happens during this week and the next
Yeah,
week after that that
yeah,
we can address, because this isn't going to go away too soon, I don't think.
yeah.
Uh, but I think we've more or less covered what we can tonight. So,
Okay. All righty.
if you like what you saw and heard here, please hit like and subscribe, and we will see you next time on Hegemonix.
Okay. Ciao. All right.